I'm sending this link to someone, guys. I'm still here.
Gotcha. Hey, brother
Okay.
Dave. Speaking about creation, being that's one of the topics. The word Pangea always fascinated me, and the idea that continents were once joined together. Do you have a take on that or any insight?
Well, there's some really exciting news in the flat Earth world, and I don't know if I've actually got a picture of it actually. So this idea that the continents are moving, I'm not sure that's really what's going on. Right. So there's a video that just come out and has taken the flat Earth world by storm. It basically starts off by telling us that our maps are at least 2,000 years old. Right. So we can't trust the maps that we're looking at, you know, to be accurate renderings of the continents we're on, because it literally says on the map, it tells you on the map that they're 2,000 years old. What do I mean? Well, on these maps, they have the Tropic of Cancer and a Tropic of Capricorn on them. Has anybody ever wondered why they've got those are called those things? Has anybody ever wondered that? Yeah? No?
Wondered, but didn't have answers.
Right. It's because, again, it's because of the sun. Okay, so we know what age we're in by when the sun, what constellation the sun rises in on the vernal equinox. Yeah. So if we're in the age of Aries, on the vernal equinox, the sun will rise on you know, in the constellation of Aries. Okay. So if it's if you look at the zodiac wheel, okay, you can put Aries at the top and draw a line straight down, and whatever that constellation is, that's where the sun's going to rise in the other equinox. Okay, if you draw a line directly across, you'll see where the sun will rise on the solstices, and in the case of the age of Aries, it's Capricorn and Cancer. Okay, but we're not in the age of Aries. We're in the age of Pisces right now, just about to shift into Aquarius. So 2,000 years ago, it was the you know, Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, but it should have been, I think it's Sagittarius and I can't remember, and Gemini. Okay, but these maps are out of date. So either they've been falsified and you know, they didn't change them, or they're literally 2,000-year-old maps, and that leads into the fact that if we don't know what our continents look like, it turns out that the moon has an impression of what's on the Earth. Okay, if you look at the shapes on the moon, there's a section. If you imagine the whole moon, there's a section like about a quarter of the way around, which has all our continents mapped out on it. Okay, and somebody's actually done the measurements and found that, yeah, this is a map of the Earth. Okay, but that map, that circular section of the whole moon, is just 1/4. Okay. The rest of the moon has a large continent on it, yeah, that we don't know about. But the thing is that, as I said, we're changing from age to age to age. Every 2,160 years, we go from you know, Pisces to Aquarius, to the next one, to the next one, every 2,000 odd years. Okay. Can somebody mute, because I can hear myself again. Okay. So that circle that we call the Earth is literally where the sun is going around magnetic north and melting continents out of the ice. Right. The rest of the continents are in the cold, dark, icy places. Ooh.
Brother Benayah,
Yahweh, yeah.
Benayah, does he need to turn something down?
Yeah, can you mute? Can you mute yourself? No? Okay. Oh, all right. Okay, so yeah, so literally the sun is going around magnetic north and melting a pond in the ice. And right now it's melting the familiar continents that we know of, yeah? But as I said, that magnetic north is moving. It's moving around in a circle around around the Earth, and it's going to be melting out new continents. And one of those continents is an entire, it's like the whole Earth will be a continent. So that would be the Pangea. And that also might be, Eden. We don't, we are nowhere near Eden. That's why we can't find it anywhere, because it's not part of the Earth that, that we're inhabiting yet. So that's what, again, you'd have to watch the video to get the full gist of it, but it's amazing, an amazing revelation. And I really think when I heard it, it's, my intuition just went, that's the truth. It's got to be the truth. So yeah, sorry if it's a long explanation.
It's really important actually, because I'm going to just interact there. There is actually a program. I know, Dave, you've heard of John Levy and Martin Ledker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a program. They have put actually a video or a program on YouTube. I want to find it for you in a minute, okay? And you can see the Earth on the moon inverted, okay? Now, to back that up, Walt Disney, even Disney World, is based on the impregnation of the Earth on the moon. And Walt Disney just points out that there is a lot more land outside of Antarctica than what we know of right now. And you can see the shape of the Earth and beyond on the moon. When I find it, I'm trying to look for it right now on my YouTube, on my TV. When I find it, I'll give you guys a link so you can have a look at it. But it's very, very interesting. So I'm glad that Dave brought that up actually, because that really now is it's a very important revelation, because it does give us a bigger idea and more of a broader angle on where we're living, and more emphasis on the Earth being flat and we're not knowing exactly what the shape of the continents are and how big the actual Earth is. So I'll find it for you and let you guys know. But that's a good point, Dave. Nice one.
Yeah. Because
I've put I put a link to that video in the chat just in case anybody wants to check it out. But one of the other things that's interesting about it is it makes sense of how all this architecture, this amazing
Dave.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's interesting that Dave brought that up. I could just make out the word architecture. And recently I've been hearing things about Tartaria and the Tartarian Empire and whatnot. It seems like there's been a movement of late. And it's what I find interesting is that there are these dated pictures in the late 1800s of major cities around the world: New York, Toronto, London, Paris, you name it. And they all seem uninhabited, as though these populations were newly moved into these cities. So I really don't know too much about it. I'm sure, Brother Devin, please go ahead.
I'll tell you what. We are now in an age, it's a second or a third phase now, whereby there's more truth being uncovered, okay? I've been watching things right up until last night about Tartaria, about mud floods and that kind of stuff, okay? And also even about London Underground. And London Underground is very, very similar to all the other undergrounds around the world, okay? And they are all mapped in exactly the same way. All the buildings from that time in the early 1800s are all the same all over the world. And if you guys have done any kind of research on star forts, have you heard about star forts before? Anybody? Who has not heard of a star fort?
I know
I'm
that.
not.
Right, okay. Well, these star forts are around the world in different areas of the world. And on these star forts, the buildings that are on them are exactly the same buildings, but they're in different parts of the world. All our buildings that we've got here in the UK, well, I say here, in the UK and in Istanbul, in Germany, Russia, all these buildings are the same. So if we've got lots of different cultures and different people, why are all these buildings exactly the same? You have Phoenician buildings with the triangles on the top, and you have Tartarian buildings, which are more ornate, they're more artistic. But all of these buildings are the same, and they're all around the world. Now, when we were talking earlier on before about different civilizations and different world before this world, a lot of those buildings are mud flooded, whereby those buildings have been here or on the world a very, very long time ago. And the mud, which I wish Dave was here now, because when we're talking about mud floods, Dave refers to that as the flood. So basically those buildings could have been here at the time of Noah or before the time of Noah, because the Most High did flood the world a few times before Noah's flood. He got rid of a few civilizations before the flood. So what I'm saying is this new era now of uncovering these things has just re-emerged again. It's just started again. Hi, Dave. I was just talking about, where's the brother called? Where's he now? Prince Israel, yeah? He just mentioned about Tartaria and mud floods, yeah? And also, I just mentioned star forts, and that these star forts are all around the world. And we're in a new age now of more secrets that are being uncovered right now. I really feel now we're learning a lot more now about things post-vaccine. I think there's a new era now of more knowledge being uncovered. And Brother Prince there bringing that up is very, very important, because it's part of it is to do with the beginning of civilization as we know it. Can you elaborate on the mud floods and Tartaria? Because we spoke about it before.
Okay. Yeah, this is a time of the apocalypse, you know,
Yes.
the great revealing of truth.
Yeah.
And you know, they've literally been holding technology and the truth about history, you know, like a balloon underwater. Yeah. They can't hold it forever. I'm sorry about traffic. I had to just relocate because my connection was really, really bad. Yeah, so my contention is, you know, there's a lot of people talking about mud floods and, you know, mud welling up from somewhere and covering all these buildings. I call it the flood. So the flood happened, and literally all these, everything got covered in silt, and you know, the flood waters were sort of retreated and left, you know, a layer of mud everywhere. And it's funny because there's a couple of passages in the Old Testament, or at least one, that says somebody went out, and I can't remember if it's Canaan. Canaan went out to seize a city, to take a city. Yeah, not build one, but take one.
Like it was already there. Yeah,
like it was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you think about this this moving earth, well, it's not moving earth, the earth's static underneath, but it's just the melted part of the earth being revealed as the sun goes round. It will uncover lands with already buildings on it and nobody living there, because, you know, it's uninhabitable until the sun gets there. So yeah, I think there's a greater earth that, you know, we're very slowly moving towards, and when we get there, there's going to be amazing cities already built there with nobody living there.
Well, I'll say something now quickly as well. I think you can help with this, Dave, as well. Churches, people think churches are places of worship. They were never that. They were never that. Churches were never churches. Churches, I don't know if you know about free energy, but energy should be free. Should be free, because energy could be got at. We can do an energy source right now where we're living right now. You can too. But obviously they put a dollar bill, if you like, on energy just to enslave the world. But these buildings, like churches, they were actually free energy machines.
Yep.
And the nodules on the church steeples were where they put the wires to get the free energy. All you need is, and those dome-shaped or ball-shaped, onion-shaped roofs that they had, that used to house the energy. And the organs that you see in churches as well, they were there to generate different frequencies of energy that we can have to control or to heal or to help or to destroy. All this knowledge now that's coming through now, I'm telling you, I've been looking at some amazing, amazing things. And it's like a post, as I said earlier on, a post-vaccination knowledge that I'm falling into now. And it's bizarre because the ones who don't get vaccinated, this knowledge will help us in a big way. But the ones who do get vaccinated, I can't really help them. And I don't know what's going to happen to them. Well, I have an idea what's going to happen to them. But this knowledge is going to be at their detriment because they shouldn't have taken the vaccine. I hope none of you guys have taken the vaccine. I hope you haven't, because why?
Well, anyone who takes a vaccine means that they putting their trust in man and not the Most High.
Idol, 100%. Yeah. It is an idol. And you know, okay, when you read Isaiah, I think it's 54, that any weapon that S word, call it what you want, puts against us won't harm us. I still don't recommend the vaccine, okay? Because that is a weapon of sorts and it's there for control. And it does say that the Most High will forgive us our sins and those who repent, he'll forgive us. But at the same time, to hold on to an idol, something like a vaccine, is going to be at your detriment, 100%. And whoever you know has taken the vaccine, I don't think you can help them. For those who are thinking about it, tell them not to. But all this new disclosure of information that's coming out now, it is very, very interesting. The London Underground, as I said before, is unbelievable. It's very, very similar to other underground systems around the world. And it was not done for underground trains. It was done for other things as well. So all this disclosure that's coming out now, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Well, you know, the if you stick a wire up in the air, yeah, you take it, you know, 100 foot up into the air, you'll get a charge generated on that wire. Okay, you know, it's well known. And but you know, just sticking a wire up in the air is very inefficient at gathering this energy. If you were to spend a lot of time working on finding the most efficient shape to gather that energy, I bet you'll end up with a church spire. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. Yes, these buildings, it seems, were repurposed when they moved into these cities. They just you know, the powers that be, the ruling class, basically said, oh well, okay, this is a church, and this is a library, and this is this, and this is that, and this is whatever. And you know,
Freemasonry,
yes,
free for them. They occupied the buildings that were already there. And the people, when they had world fairs in America, in San Francisco and those places, and France, when they had world fairs, the people that they created underground, they brought them up and educated them on the new reset. So the previous resets had their way of living, but these buildings that were already there, these people had to learn or relearn propaganda knowledge to go out and teach the masses and be in charge of certain countries, because obviously we don't have countries, we have corporations. There's no such thing as countries. It's a man-made joke. Right? And history is his story, not true history. The Old Testament is the real story, but there are stories within it that we don't really know, and these things are being uncovered now as we speak. And I'll try and find some of these things that I've been looking at, but honestly, it's really, really fascinating. So the Freemasonry, when they came up from underground and they occupied these buildings that were already there, the churches and other buildings, okay, all the wars, World War I, World War II, we all think it was about getting rid of the people. It was getting rid of the buildings, because the buildings were the evidence, because all the buildings were the same buildings around the world. And so what they were doing was getting rid of evidence, and people would at some point tie that together again. They tie these things together, but they wanted to get rid of the evidence. So people, I mean, the whole vaccination separation thing that's going on right now is so that we don't talk. Because this age of disclosure now is so that we don't do this, what we're doing right now.